ancient well, v'chaneni ki me'olam. If you listen, listen, listen.
And as we open our ears to listen, we welcome in Shabbat. It is wonderful to see those of you who are joining us in our sanctuary and those who are joining us online. And before we welcome in Shabbat with our candle blessings, I want to pause for a moment and say Shehechianu together, because since the past 2+ years or so, we now are coming back to life in new and different ways. We have an artist, liturgist scholar in residence, and this just feels like we're opening back up, like life is renewing itself again. Lazman hazeh. We thank God for blessing us with life, for sustaining us, especially over these past couple of years, and one is coming. And so we welcome in Shabbat. If you are at home, perhaps you have candlesticks near you, you have a Kiddush cup, as we join together to welcome in Shabbat with our blessings on page 120. As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we by our lives give light to all who behold us, be among those who kindle light. As we welcome in the light and the warmth and the brightness of Shabbat, we join together, Baruch Ner Shel Shabbat.
And if you have wine at home or any symbol of joy, I think that those of us who are in the congregation that don't have the libation, please stand, because in standing, you're raising yourselves to a higher plane of holiness, and the Spirit, the Ruach LeShabbat, is here in the congregation as we bind ourselves to the mitzvah of observing the Shabbat on page 123 in our Eloheinu Ata Adonai, Eloheinu Melech HaOlam, Asher Kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodesho v'ahavav ratzon hinechilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reshit ki hu yom tzechiro mikroe kodesh zecher letziot mitzrayim kivanu v'chota ve'otanu shecha be'ahava u'v'ratzon hinechaltanu Baruch Ata Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. And we say together, L'chaim, to life, Shabbat Shalom. Please be seated.
And to keep you on your toes this evening, a little creativity, we continue now with Lecha Dodi on page 138. And a reminder that when we get to the final
Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala B'nei Shabbat Nikavela Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala B'nei Shabbat Nikavela Ishbianu Elam Yuchad Adonai Echad Shem Moechad Shem Tiferet Veritila Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala B'nei Shabbat Nikavela לכלכלה ונלכה עם כל הברכה בראש מקדם ניסוחה מעשה במחשבתי שבת נקבלה לך דודי לכלכלה
Please rise.
Shabbat nekabela
Face the back.
Vive shalom ateret bala Gam besimcha uvet boi chala B'nei Shabbat nekabela לך דודי לכלכלה בני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לכלכלה בני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לכלכלה בני שבת נקבלה.
And we remain standing as we continue with the Baruch Hu on page 146.
The covenant we made together on Sinai is a pledge for all time, a vow for the ages to do and to listen, to teach and to learn with the fullness of our hearts from the depths and mitzvot, heaven to feed our hearts and fill our land with God's abundant gifts, the brilliance and wonder that flow from service to God's holy word. In remembrance of creation and our liberation from slavery, declaring throughout the generations, God is one, God is one, God is one.
Israel, Adonai, Eloheinu, Adonai, Adonai Echad, Baruch Malechuto,
You may be seated.
And you shall love the Lord your God with all your might. And these words which I command you on this day shall be in your heart, shall be in your heart. You shall teach them gently unto your house when you're walking by the way, and when you're lying down, and when you're rising up, and when you're rising. a sign upon your hand, and they shall be for frontlets to your eyes. You shall write them on the doorposts of your house and upon your gates, upon your gates, that you will remember and do all of my commandments, and be holy unto your God, unto your God, unto your God.
And we continue on page 158 with Mi Chamocha.
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar ba'kodesh, mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar ba'kodesh. Ora tegilo, oseh feleh, nora tegilo, oseh feleh, Adonai gimloch leolam va'ed. Malechutecha ra'u vanecha, boke'ayam lifnei Moshe. Se'eli anu ve'amaru se'eli. Mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar ba'kodesh, mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar ba'kodesh. Nora tegilo, oseh feleh, nora tegilo, oseh feleh, Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed.
And we continue now on page 160 with Hashkivenu, our evening prayer for peace. Page 160.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Mishalom V'hamidenu Shomreinu L'chaim L'chaim. Let there be love, guard us with peace, strength and compassion for all in need. Shield us from hate, illness and war. Watch over us as we go forth. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu L'shomreinu L'chaim L'chaim. Fill us with hope, grace, and truth. May we all return to you. Keep us safe, safe tonight. Hashkivenu V'hamidenu Shomreinu L'chaim 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 L'chaim.
now we get to pause for some words of Torah. It is an honor to introduce our darshan, our Devar Torah giver this evening, Alden Salavi. It's joy and excitement for prayer. He is an American-Israeli liturgist, poet, lyricist, author, and educator. And if you know, and his teaching spans from Hebrew Union College conferences really around, especially the English-speaking world. He is the author of 5 books of new liturgy in English, and 15 volumes from Jewish, Christian, and Catholic publishers. He writes for Ritual Well, Rav Blog, The Times of Israel, and he's a 3-time winner of the Peter Lissagor Award for Exemplary Journalism and the founder of the Mankind Project in Israel. He made Aliyah to Israel in 2012, and you will hear more about that if you join us. You can follow Alden on Facebook, and so often when something happens in this world and words fail us, so often for myself, when words fail me, inevitably, Alden that can be shared with all of you, words that help, my own self. And I will say one of the ways we have been for COVID, and we've been planning this, how could we be? Those initial conversations started with Alden and sparked a lot of thought. And one of the things that people here don't know, and probably people in other places don't know, is that we started some of those topics with Alden, and after we were the guinea pigs, for lack of a better term, he went out and was able to say to other congregations, or we were able to say, hey, you really should have Alden as a teacher. And so it has been wonderful that we have had him as a creative partner. And so for the next 6 weeks that we get to have a creative partner, and so an honor to have Alden on the bima with us this Shabbat.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Brigida, with your rabbi, and just say how mitragesh. It's a Hebrew. I'm emotional to be here with you, to be back here a second time. I love you guys. I love this clergy team. I love the staff, and I, Brigida and Corey and I sat down 4 years ago to plan this, and you haven't given up on me. So it's brilliant to be here. So what a thrill to be here with you. That's how I wrote it out. For a month and a half as your liturgist in residence. The return has been lovely. It's been a warm welcome. This week's parasha is Ki Tisa. It includes the golden calf, the first tablets of the law, the 13 attributes of God's divine mercy, the second tablets of the law. Artisan Bezalel, who will lead the construction of the tabernacle. It is a rich portion, and although my over, it comes from here, from Ki Tisa, here with y'all. Now, you can get beautiful divrei Torah from your team. You don't need me for that. So what I do differently is in lieu of a sermon, Moses receives the first tablets of the law, an amazing moment, an eternal pact between God and Israel, the hope that Torah would be a source of wisdom for our people throughout the age. Moments, carry your days, lift your years, let Torah fill your hands, nourish your breath, refresh your heart. Let Torah sustain your words, enliven your deeds, lead you home. For Torah is in God's yearning. Dear sisters and brothers, awake, you slumberers. Awake, you who wander empty and low. Future, have you traded your birthright for empty promises? This then is God's command. Let Torah hold you, fill you, sustain you. Let Torah guide you into radiance and mystery. Study and learn, question and seek, Hear and grow, lifting your life in sacred service. Let Torah be your breath and your heartbeat. Blessed are you. Finds what in modern terms we might call a house party. Here's how the Urban Dictionary defines house party: a party at your house, which usually does not involve the consent of your parents. So there's lots of alcohol and people get a decision you could ever have made. This is thy God, O Israel, who brought you up out of the land of Egypt. This is a poetic midrash from my book, This Precious Life, called Golden Calf. That day, the day we stood before the mountain of God, distant, and we felt so alone, we made a golden idol and danced. That day, the day we shamed ourselves and each other, the day we forgot your love and your promise, when we made ourselves distant, and easy it is for a heart to stray, to worship false gods, so many false gods, wealth and sex. We make these idols and dance before them. God of forgiveness, let our hearts return to you, so that we shout of our lives. Moses, in his anger, burns the golden calf, grinds it into dust, throws the dust into water, and makes the Israelites drink it. This is a prayer poem also from this. I have tasted the dust of my sins, the grit of my misdeeds, the sludge of bad thoughts and wrong action. I've tasted the pure water of goodness, the font of my charity, the clarity of good intentions and generous acts. Support me, lead me to a life of celebration. Let the rivers of righteousness overflow their banks, washing clean the dust of sorrow, washing clean the dust of fear and misdeed. My hands will do your work, my feet will follow your path, and my life will be a well of awe and wonder. Second set of tablets, he's on the mountain for 40 days and 40 nights. Remember, Moses is alone on the mountaintop. And remember this, a mountain in the desert can be dreadfully hot by day and terribly cold at night. This is a piece called Fleeting Moments. Anymore. He's changed. He uses a veil. Something's happened to him on that mountain. Fleeting moments. It was freezing on the mountaintop at night when the silence crushed my body into stone. It was sizzling on the mountaintop at midday when God's thunder grasped my mind with terrible power. Holiness leaves a mark on the soul. God's voice leaves a crack and still. God says that no one can see my face and live. Instead, God shows Moses God's glory, proclaiming, Adonai, Adonai el rachum v'chanun, erech apayim v'rav chesed v'emet. נוצר חסד לאלפים, נושא עוון ופשע וחטאה ונקה. Adonai, Adonai, a God compassionate and great, forgiving iniquity. It's considered a powerful mystical formula in the Talmud, Masechet Rosh Hashanah, Tractate Rosh Hashanah 17b. Rav Yehuda states a covenant was made with the words, a covenant was made. One will certainly be answered. This is one reason why on Yom Kippur at Kol Nidre in Mishkan HaNefesh, we have the opportunity to recite the 13 attributes of mercy 3 times to make sure God remembers the promise of mercy. Sadly, in our times between war, my forthcoming book, these words, poetic midrash on the language of Torah. And over the course of our 6 weeks, you will be the first to hear pieces from the yet-to-be-published book. This is one of them. It's called Where is Mercy? Adonai, Adonai, compassionate, God, compassionate, gracious and mercy in a world of war and plague and pain and pandemic, of random killing and premeditated violence. Where will we find your mercy when your countenance stays hidden? Mercy is kindness, providing healing to a struggling world. We are your well of mercy, and your deed bring more mercy into this world. Ken Yeh Ratzon. Let me take one more moment to invite you, please, to come participate fully in these 6 weeks together with you. I want to get to know you better. I want to be part of this place. We'll have tomorrow Torah study. Sunday morning, Rabbi has convinced me to, it may be the only time I actually talk about Israel in public. That's your Jewish Toolbox, is that what that's called? At 9 o'clock on Sunday. And then for the next 6 weeks, we'll have 2 classes a week. One, the other will be on gratitude, and we'll do some writing work around gratitude, Hakarat Tov, your theme for the year. So it'll be a thrill to debut some new pieces for you no one else has heard, and it's wonderful to have it.
Let me say right there, what a blessing it is to be inspired by Alden's words, and he inspires us to continue our 64 for the Amidah, and if you're able to, I ask you to please rise.
Adonai sifatai tiftachu fi agidei latecha. Adonai 66. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Agadol Agibor ve'Anoro, El Elyon Gomel Chasadim, Lema'an Shemo be'ava, Melech Ozer u'Moshiach u'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Mashiva ruach u'morir Hashem, Mechalkel chayim bechesed, Mechaye akol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim verofecho, Rishenei afar, Michamocha ba'al gevurot, Omidomeroch, Melech memit u'mechaye, Adonai mechaye hakol. Page 170. Ata kadosh v'shimcha kadosh u'kedoshim bechol yom yahalalu chasela. Baruch atah Adonai ha'el hakadosh.
You may be seated. And we're going to turn again to the page that we have either here, or you may be able to access a PDF of it that has some readings by Alden Soloby.
So let's please read response. This joy that shines through the center of my being, to you, my friends, who hold me, support me, and carry me along the way. To you, my God, source of strength and hope. To whom shall I give these praising lips? This guide me, give these powerful hands, this energy that infuses my bone and sinew. To you, my friends, together we will build this world into a temple of justice and peace. To you, my God, together we'll bring the light of holiness and love. Blessed are you, my friends, in our moments of celebration together and our moments of service to each other. Blessed are you, God of all being, source of my life, creator of joy and gratitude.
And our thoughts now turn to those in our lives, in our community who are in need of a little extra healing. Shabbat, I invite you to either rise or to remain seated and to say their name out loud if you would like, to put their name out there into the universe, or to keep their names quietly, silently in your hearts and in your minds. Please do so now. All those names who were said aloud or who were kept quietly in our hearts and our minds have a speedy recovery and a full recovery, a refuah shlema, a prayer for healing, mishaberach lecholim.
May the source of strength courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say of healing with the of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say
Blessed are you, God, who heals the sick, and together we say,
without a sound, I whispered a secret prayer to God, who whispered a secret answer to me so quietly that it arrived in the chambers of my soul without a sound. Oh, how I wish to hear your voice. Oh, how I wish to know your dreams for me. Oh, how I wish to let my heart run wild and free, as light as a bird song, as true as the call of holy, holy. I whispered a secret prayer to God, who whispered a secret answer to me, to trust that blessings arrive in the chambers of my soul without a sound.
We now take some time for some silent prayer and reflection.
Efim reifi legion libi lefanecha tsuri Adonai vegoali Ratzon in refi legion libi lefanecha Adonai tzuri Adonai tzuri legoali
Shabbat Shalom. And have begins at 9 o'clock in the chapel or via Zoom. Shabbat morning service in the bar mitzvah of Rhett Adam Vosky via live stream. Excited we are to have you here for the UH Artists in Residence. Rick Reck will be on stage. Build Your Jewish Toolbox, Israel Part 1 is this Sunday at 9 a.m. in the chapel or via Zoom. For additional information on other upcoming virtually tonight, thank you to our great clergy who every Friday night put on a special service. The school's in session from 9 a.m. to 12 and by appointment. Everybody enjoy the rest of the service and be safe traveling home.
And just a reminder that there is no religious school this Sunday, so don't try to come to the gift shop this Sunday. It's not open. We are ready to begin conclusion to page 586 to the bottom paragraph, and if you're able to, I ask you to please rise for Aleinu L'Shabeach.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כנו כהם, וגור עלינו ככל המונם, ואנחנו נלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. Page 591. ונאמר וחיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו
Please be seated. At the bottom of page 595, יש כוכבים שאורם מגיע ארצה רק כאשר הם עצמם עבדו ואינם. There are stars up above so far away, we only see their light long, long after the star itself is gone. And so stars that light up the darkest night, these are the lights that guide us. As we live our days, these are the ways we remember. This Shabbat, our congregation's heartfelt condolences go out to the families of Iris Buffin, Lillian Deutsch, Theodore Ted Jagast, Murray Marks, Donna Nettles, Dr. Sheldon Rudnick, Kenneth Dean Sirks, MD, Susan Susie Tozer. And this Shabbat, we recall the yard sites and we lovingly remember Shirley Askovich, Sylvian Backerman, Jenny Barron, Lois L. Bauer, Adelaide Stone Bellows, Elliot S. Bender, Rose Y. Biederman, Dr. Max John Bierman, Jack L. Binder, Richard Birnbosson, Blanche H. Barak, Celia H. Cohen, Dorothy A. Cohen, Dr. Frank Cohen, Harriet May Dardick, Jenny Diamond, Sarah Eisner, John Ellman, Mildred Austin, Philip Fredman, Marcus Führer, Jenny R. Gardner, Minnie Getzlow, Selma H. Gidlow, Emily N. Grafman, Joseph Greenspun, Abraham H. Grossman, Alfred I. Harris, Leon Harris, Rowena Henschel, Henry Hirschfeld, Regina Holstein, David S. Hyman, Celia Joseph, Berth Alexander Leventhal, Ronald Lending, Sophie Harris Lending, Rachel Levy, Sylvia Adele Lumstein, Ida Magidson, Dr. Jack Mallon, Edgar Donald Millstone, Mark Mitgang, David Mosinger, Burton Noble, Phil Pizer, Dorothy L. Pazlowski, Albert E. Rain, Sylvia Seidel Raymond, Louis K. Romansky, Greta Rosen, Dr. Joseph F. Rufa, Harold Rubin, Abraham Samuelson, Rose Samuelson, Sadie Schiffer, Pearl W. Schindler, Siebert Schwartz, Mary Basson Schwartz, Jacob Carl Sellner, Charles Serenko, Joseph Cecil Barber, Virginia Spruth Weintraub. Zichrona together to page 598, Scottish, page 598. Israel, ba'agala uvizman kari v'imru amen. Yehi shemei rabba mevarach le'olam u'lalmeinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the one who makes peace in the high heavens above send peace down here to us, to all of Israel and to all the world, and together we all say, Amen. I want to thank once again our liturgist in residence, Alden Solovey, for coming here tonight, just tonight from Israel. No, just kidding. We're very honored to have him with us. And please, I am our part in creating a little bit more peace in this world. God helps us out, but it's also our...
Imromav uyas le'alko Yisrael ve'imeru Amen. Imromav uyas shalom aleinu ve'alko Yisrael Aseh shalom aleinu ve'alko Yisrael ve'imeru amen. Aleinu ve'alko bimromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'alko Yisrael ve'imeru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'alko Yisrael.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody.